Hi everybody, I'm Trish Christ. In this episode of Our Nashville, NECAT and our super crew of teenagers spend some time with Able Youth. Executive Director Amy Safel and her team are going to show and tell us all the cool things they do in our community. You ready, Amy?
Yes.
You ready, super crew?
Yes.
Let's make the show.
It's our Nashville.
It's our Nashville.
It's our Nashville.
It's our Nashville.
We all know how to talk about our organization during meetings, but what about the chance encounter of a lifetime? You never know who may share your next elevator, notice your logo on a notebook or a tote bag, and ask what you do. What's the clearest, most persuasive thing you can say in a short elevator ride?
Able Youth helps kids with physical disabilities learn to be independent and learn to be vibrant, great, productive members of society throughout their lives by helping them when they're young to play sports and to learn that they can really do anything in life, and that, you know, the disabilities don't have to hold them back, and we show them, you know, how they can do that. There is something about sports that connects us all in society, and sports is such a big part of society, and I feel like that so many times people with disabilities think, you know, I can't do that, and especially kids, you know, their classmates are involved in soccer and basketball and baseball, and so for a kid to be left out of that, you know, it sets them apart a lot of times from other students. But also, I think when a kid with a disability learns that they can do something physical that they thought that they couldn't do, then that brings about different ways that they feel about things that they can do that are in other areas of life. And so learning that they can play sports just brings about so much that they learn about. And plus, you know, it's a team, you know, whether or not they're doing an individual sport or they're just playing something silly or it's something that's a team sport, learning from the other kids is important too. And you do a lot in sports as well. So that's why it's also important.
Let's talk about some of the sports that kids play in Able Youth. And I say kids, even though I know some of them are late teens, early 20s. What are some of the sports that Able Youth includes?
So we have a travel wheelchair basketball team called the Music City Thunder, and that goes from the fall through the spring. And then we have a competition, usually trip in the spring, and it's for track and field and sometimes some other sports as well. And then at our monthly Super Sports Saturdays, we do kind of everything. And that's not competitive, and you know, they play tennis and they play basketball, and we'll do some baseball, we'll do just some silly games. Also throughout the year, we do some racing, and we'll participate in either 5Ks, or if somebody wants to do more or a shorter distance than that, they can do that as well. And that really is open to anybody, whether or not it takes them, you know, 10 minutes to do a mile or it takes them an hour to do a mile, doesn't matter. And so that's something that's been really great for us too.
My name is Emily Hoskins, and I've been working with Able Youth for several years now. My main job is getting in there with the kids and interacting with them, and you know, being a role model in a lot of ways. One of the programs of Able that takes up the most amount of time is I serve as head coach for our wheelchair basketball team, the Music City Thunder, and just finished my 4th season as head coach with them. So Super Sports Saturday, we have once a month from 9 to noon. The kids come down to the Williamson County Rec Center, and we do a bunch of different activities. Typically, you know, we go outside and hit the tennis courts, and there's an outside like walking trail that we do. So one of the activities I had today, I have planned for us, is I got 2 kind of tote bags and basically cleaned out my pantry, you know, canned goods, all, you know, boxes of rice, that sort of thing. And we are going to do kind of a relay race where the kids are going to bag their groceries and then have to carry the bags and kind of come up with different creative ways to do that, because what works for one child might not work for the other. And talk about an independent skill, when these kids are older and living on their own and doing their own grocery shopping, figuring out, okay, do I just put a basket on my lap when I shop? Do I push a cart? What do I do? How do I then get my groceries from the store into my car or whatever, and then into the house at the end? So it's obviously a very applicable life skill. One of the things that I am proudest of this program is how much our kids have each other's backs. We have kids of all ages, and the older kids, Abel has always sort of had the idea that as the older kids get older, they become role models for the younger kids. Kids might see me, I'm an adult, and they'll think like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get to that level in independence. And that's not true. They'll get there, but sometimes having a kid closer to their age makes it seem more obtainable. But at the same time, our Able Youth kids are also athletes at heart, and so there definitely is some competition, like some healthy competition there, and that's part of the fun.
So we are part of the National Wheelchair Basketball Association, and the way that's organized is that's in a conference, and we can go outside of our conference, but our conference is teams in the Southeast, and so each state has their own tournament, and so we travel to each other's tournaments, and then if we have a tournament, they come to us. And then at the end of the season, if they make it, they'll go to the National Wheelchair Basketball Association's national tournament. And so it's a lot of traveling, but traveling really brings about a lot of development in their independent skills, because it's one thing to learn what they can do at their house, and then it's a completely different thing to learn travel skills, packing their own bags and handling their own bags, and what it's like to have to deal with a hotel room. That shower and bathrooms probably set up differently. The bed might be higher or lower than they're used to. And so them being able to travel is a big deal too. Plus, they get to meet so many other kids their own age and different circumstances with their disabilities that they wouldn't get to meet otherwise. And so that's really important as well. A lot of times the parents and siblings get to go, and same kind of thing. They meet other families that are in the same situations, and they get to become friends, because a lot of times in the conference, we see each other multiple times throughout the season. And so they get to know each other too, and kind of create that bond of, hey, I know what this is like, and bounce ideas off of one another and things like that. So that's really a valuable thing for them to do as well.
My name is Jay Denning. I'm involved with Able Youth because my parents got into contact with Rick Slaughter, the former CEO and founder, one of the founders of Able Youth. I've been with Able Youth since I was 4. So that's how I got connected. I've been in it pretty much my entire life. My first few visits was with the basketball team. That's how I also found that basketball was my love. I get to play with the team. I get to play with people who I've known for a long time. The relationships we build, teamwork, everything is amazing. But other than that, I just love the sport in general, even though I don't watch it on TV at all. I definitely can see the growth, because when I was younger, I used to look up to everyone. I still do look up to those same people, but now I get to be one of the people that the younger players can look up to. And while I'm still working on myself, they can see the hard work that I put in, so they can put in to be better than me. Since I've been playing basketball for almost 11 years, or probably 12 now, I got to build up friendships with people from the other teams, and they know how we all started out. So it's all about sportsmanship also. Just seeing the younger players trying to build up their strength just to be able to shoot just like the older players, it gives you some kind of just like, yes, keep going. You want to be motivational for the person who's doing it. I'll be in college, definitely, because I'm trying to work on graphic designing, because I have a big goal for owning my own gaming comic book company later on. And hopefully around in that area, I'll also play a little bit of basketball. Thanks to Able Youth, I am who I am now. And without them, I would be a completely different person.
My name is Oscar Denning. I'm an assistant basketball coach. I'm also Jay's dad. He's always had people to bounce ideas off of, talk to about different situations that he's dealing with, that as a parent myself, I can't help him. You know, I think for me that was the most hurtful part, because I couldn't help him. All I could do is, hey, you can cry on my shoulder, but you're gonna have to figure it out. You're living it. And but because I was just there for him, I think I hope that was enough. And one of the things that I tried to tell him as he was coming up is make the best out of your situation, and don't let your situation make you. We all have issues we're dealing with, but by him being who he is in the wheelchair and everything, it's a little different from his situation to mine. So it's like, hey dude, I can't tell you how to live your life, but what I will do is just give you some things that help me through mine, see how it can apply to yours, and then let's make it work. Whatever works, let's keep doing it. Whatever doesn't work, we'll stop. Whatever modifications we need to make, we'll make that. And then at the end of the day, we'll just be happy with the results. I love my coach. They gave me tidbits about the game as well as about real life. And one of the things that they taught me about real life was everything that you want in life, you have to work for it. And it translates to the basketball court. They didn't just want to give us basketball lessons, but they wanted to give us things that we could apply to our life. And that's the same that I share with the whole basketball team as well. Basketball is temporary. It's a vehicle to help you get to where you want to go. After you get to where you want to go, what are you going to do? Understanding that with basketball, there's going to be adversity. Translate that to life, because there's going to be adversity. How you bounce back and what's your resilience about it that's what's going to ultimately dictate how successful you are.
I am going to explain some pieces about the wheelchair, like the camber. The camber in the wheel, the camber is part of the actual bar right here, part of the frame, and the camber helps you stay balanced when you do something like this. The camber keeps you from flipping over and hitting your head. That's what the camber does. It gives you more balance, and it's basically just a tilting of the wheel. So there's also a crash plate right here. It protects your feet, and yeah. And then the belts right here. They help you turn really quick. They help the athlete move.
We play hard and fall over just like other kids, and we learn how to get right back up. Play doesn't stop when someone falls over unless they're in the middle of the action.
There was a very big deal tournament, if I'm not mistaken, in February of 2019 that was here in Nashville. And Able Youth hosted this time around. Tell us who was at that? What was that about? How does a giant, how many teams, how many people, how does a giant tournament like that work?
So it was the Music City Madness tournament, and 15 teams from 10 different states came, and it was at MTSU, and it was 150 wheelchair athletes. All youth teams came. And
150 wheelchair athletes together.
Yeah,
Awesome.
And so as far as I know, that was the biggest adaptive sports competition of any kind in the state that year, and probably multiple years as well. And so it was really great. You know, I think people that came to see the tournament probably had never seen 150 people in wheelchairs in their whole life in one room, much less playing at a very high level wheelchair basketball tournament. And so people are really surprised when they see wheelchair basketball that it's a rough sport, and it's really competitive, and the kids are truly out there competing just like any other athlete would. And I think it went really well. It was great to see all the athletes here, and it was a great experience for our kids too, to have so many people come to them, and for our kids to be able to play in front of a home crowd, and to have their friends and families and supporters be able to come and see them play, because they don't always get to do that.
Sure. And to have, I think they were the only team with their own cheerleaders.
They were. We have the Music City Thunder cheerleaders as well. And so that was great to have them there. And as far as we were told, that was the only team that even has cheerleaders at all. And so that was a really great experience for those cheerleaders to get to come out as well.
My name is Savannah Miller. I am connected by Able Youth because I used to be in Able Youth when I was a teeny little baby till 18. That's when you are old enough to like get out and like, they're like, okay, see ya. You're grown, you know what you need to do. I did like 5 years of cheerleading, like when I was a little teeny, tiny 10 or 11-year-old to like 16 or something. I'm basically like a little volunteer here, but I'm also like not the head cheerleader, but I'm like the assistant cheerleader, and I help out with the people, the little cheerleaders that don't know the ropes. I think they are very happy and very proud that we are the only ones who have cheerleaders. I mean, yes, sometimes we get a little bit loud and annoying, but that's what cheerleaders are. I'm only out of the program. I can always come back and help others that need help. And it reminds me of when I was a little kid, just starting the program, a little bit nervous, a little bit agitated and stuff. But hey, that's part of wheelchair life. This year I'm gonna go to college and like have fun, meet new friends, see old friends that probably are already there. So I'm really excited about that.
I might toot NECAT's horn just a little bit here because the reason you and I know each other is because you are a producer here at NECAT. You have a TV series called Able Youth Presents, and your crew is often Able Youth teenagers. Those kids were involved in the filming of the Music City Madness basketball tournament in February 2019 for broadcast on television.
So the tournament, the Music City Madness tournament, was the first time, to our knowledge, that adaptive sports was captured in a full game on television in the history of the state of Tennessee. And so that's why, it was such a big deal to have that happen, and to have our kids be the ones to film it, like you said, was also a really big deal. A lot of times, kids in general with disabilities, people in general with disabilities are underrepresented in the media field, whether that's on camera or behind camera. And so we wanted to help our kids learn that they can do it, and that this is something that interests them, that this is something that they should pursue. And so for them to learn how all that works is really important. And so we were kind of working up to them being able to film the tournament so that both they could be a part of filming it and that adaptive sports could be shown on television. And so it was a really big deal, and it's a great thing for them to put on their resumes for sure.
Absolutely. Just by knowing you for the last few years, there are a lot of people who use wheelchairs. There are a lot of young people who use wheelchairs. And if I didn't know you, I don't think I would be as aware of that as I am. So I absolutely agree that, yes, more characters in movies, more folks on TV, announcers, so forth, there should be greater representation.
Because a lot of times if you don't see yourself on TV, that's kind of how you build your identity a lot of times. And so when these kids don't ever see anyone that looks like them on TV, then that really changes how they feel about themselves and how they feel about their potential in life. And so that is why it's so important for them to see themselves both in media and just around town as active and participants in society. That's really important for them to be able to see that.
It's a missed opportunity if we don't have that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Career exposure. I know you do all kinds of activities, and you have trips to businesses and so forth where kids can see different types of careers. Is there anything you want to tell us about how that might be part of Able Youth's goals?
Yeah, so there's some stats out there that say that people with disabilities that are involved in sports are much more likely to be employed. And so we want to make sure that our kids are part of that. We want to make sure that our kids know that they can be employed and they can go to college if they want to, and they can really do any kind of career that they would want to do. And so we have been exposing them to various types of careers and career fields, and certainly NECAT is part of that and exposing them to media. We've also done things in the fashion world. But that included a lot more than just fashion. That included product design and marketing and things like that. And so that was a big thing that we learned. And we've done various other things, and we're also looking at pairing more kids up with career mentors. Some kids have no idea what they want to do, and that's fine. And so that's why we're doing some of these general things. And we've also done something at a catering company. And so for them learning not only that they can cook for themselves, but they can be part of a catering company, that was also something that we did. But if they have a career interest already, then pairing them up with somebody who can show them the way and help them learn a little bit about that field at a young age is important as well, you know, so they can be exposed and hopefully gravitate towards that more.
I was impressed with the fearlessness with which able youth teenagers approached learning to use a camera, learning to use the camera switcher, the audio, the lights, all of the things that we teach here. And frankly, some of them still intimidate me, and I've been here 6 years. They weren't intimidated by the technology or the task at hand, none of it.
You know, when you have a disability, you can't really emulate a lot of the times people around you. You know, I think a lot of kids learn how to do things by watching their parents and the way that their parents or the way that their friends do things. They pick up on that, and that's the way they do things. Well, a lot of our kids, that's not always possible. Sometimes it is, but it's not always possible. And so sometimes they have to just make up their own way of doing things. And so they become very good at doing that. They become very good at just jumping right in and doing things. And so I think that really is an asset to them in all kinds of areas of their life. And so that's one of the reasons why I think that they were able to jump into that, you know, so easily, is because that's what they have to do all the time. And you know, they have to go into situations where if they truly want to, you know, get the most out of life, that they have to go into situations that they're the only wheelchair user. You know, they don't really know if a building is going to be accessible, or if a activity is going to be really conducive to their needs. And so they have to just be willing to just go find out. And so, like I said, I think that really translates into a lot of other areas of life and really helps them out.
Tell me a little bit about Independence Camp.
So Independence Camp has been going on a long time. It meets once a year, and it's typically for kids ages 10 and up. That's in order to get kids that are accustomed at least a little bit from being away from home. And it is a weekend for kids to learn to be independent. We have a lot of fun, but we also learn a lot of skills about being independent. So we will learn how to make a bed, how to do the dishes, how to get in and out of your chair, how to take your chair apart. And a lot of times kids don't realize it because they're simulating it, but we ask them to do that because they're gonna either be driving and gonna be taking their chair apart to get into the car and drive, or they're gonna be riding with a friend one day that is driving. And so we want to make sure that they know how to do all of that. We help them learn how to do a bunch of different wheelchair skills. So whether that's going up and down curves, going through gravel, going through grass and down hills that are grassy and a little bit difficult to navigate, we help them learn all of that really the whole weekend, whether we're playing games or whether we're really trying to teach skills that are kind of one-on-one skills. The whole weekend is about helping them learn to be independent and helping them learn, you know, all the types of things that they would need in order to be able to live independently.
What could someone watching us right now who's learning about able youth, maybe for the first time, or learning more about able youth at least if they'd heard of it, what can they do to further your endeavors?
We don't have a home building. We don't have any kind of building that we, you know, use consistently. And so we're always looking for, firstly, new things that our kids can do and new ideas and new ways that our kids can learn to be either more independent or more sports they can do or just more opportunities. So that's definitely one thing. But then also, you know, we're always looking for space to hold our activities. Sometimes, you know, our basketball team doesn't have a place to practice and things like that. We've been really fortunate to have Lighthouse Christian Academy to help us to host our team. But sometimes that's hard to find a place for us to practice and things. So that would be something, you know, that would be important. And just really, we're always looking for more activities. So if somebody has a business out there that would want to get involved in terms of, you know, career mentors or activities or anything like that, that would be great.
Awesome. We are at my favorite part, favorite part of the whole episode, the speed round of questions. It's just like the game we would have played when we were kids, where I ask you something and the first answer that comes to your mind, let it fly, and we'll go on to the next question.
Great.
Okay, fair
All
enough.
right.
Speed round with Amy Safel. What is your first memory of playing sports?
I played tennis when I was younger, and everybody played tennis in Atlanta, so I grew up in Atlanta.
There you go. Would you rather play sports or watch sports?
Depends on the sport. You know, I don't like to get pummeled, and so, you know, if it's that kind of sport, then, you know, I think I'm great just watching it, but a lot of times, you know, I like to be in the action as well.
Yes. What's the best thing about skiing from your most recent trip?
Oh, a couple different things. Both the friends that I went with, and then the views. Just the views out there was just spectacular, and just, you know, feeling the wind and, you know, accomplishing new goals. It's a lot of things were great about that trip.
Yes. I want to go sometime.
You should.
What is one misconception about people who use wheelchairs?
You know, a lot of times people think that people in chairs, you know, can't accomplish, you know, much in life at all. And so we're always out to prove that. I try to prove that, you know, myself every day, but then also teach the kids with enable youth that, you know, they can do anything they want to in life.
What word do you use more than any other word at work?
Ooh.
Or phrase?
Probably possibility. I think, you know, it's important for kids to learn that things are possible.
Nice. What does the acronym ABLE stand for?
It stands for Athletes Building Life Experiences, but it also stands for Adapt, Believe, Love, and Enjoy Life. 2 different things.
Lovely. Words to live by, literally. What mark do you want Able Youth to make on the world?
I would love, because of Able Youth, for both to have a whole new generation of kids with disabilities that know that they can do anything and are out there accomplishing anything that they want to do in life. But also I'd love to have just society in general to see that and to be transformed and changed and realize that the people around them, regardless of what they look like or, you know, what their ability level is, that they can accomplish anything too.
And last of all, what is your website?
It is ableyouth.org.
Amy, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Visit ableyouth.org.
It's on Nashville.